And let's get back now to yesterday's hearing, number 4, into the attack on the Capitol. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, who denied Trump's request to, quote, find the exact number of votes he needed to win in the state, spoke about the lengths he went to investigate claims made by the former president that thousands of dead people voted in Georgia.
In their lawsuits, they alleged 10,315 dead people. We found 2 dead people when I wrote my letter to Congress that's dated January 6th, and subsequent to that, we found 2 more. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 people, not 4,000, but just a total of 4. The numbers are the numbers. The numbers don't lie. We had many allegations, and we investigated every single one of them. In fact, I challenged my team, did we miss anything? Every single allegation we checked. We ran down the rabbit trail to make sure that our numbers were accurate. I've been traveling through the state of Georgia for a year now, and simply put, in a nutshell, what happened in fall of 2020 is that 28,000 Georgians skipped the presidential race, and yet they voted down ballot in other races. And the Republican congressman ended up getting 33,000 more votes than President Trump, and that's why President Trump came up short.
Let's bring in MSNBC contributor Mike Barnicle, MSNBC legal analyst Charles Coleman, and in Atlanta, Georgia, U.S. special correspondent for BBC News, Caddy Kay joins.
Caddy, what Brad Raffensperger just said about Georgia is exactly what Ron Johnson got caught on tape saying about Wisconsin. The fact is, Republicans did very well across the country on the state level, on the local level, on the national level, with one exception. And that's the top line, the presidential line, because Donald Trump offended just enough voters to lose in what was otherwise a good Republican year.
Yeah, it was so interesting listening to Raffensperger say those numbers, and he says them in such a deadpan way. He's been going throughout the country saying those same things, that basically you had Republicans doing well down ballot in the state of Georgia, but you had enough Republicans who decided they just weren't going to vote for Donald Trump. And it's the same story that I've been hearing here from Republicans who say that Donald Trump turned a lot of people off, and that's why he lost the state of Georgia. It was so interesting. I spent the day yesterday with a family of voters listening to those hearings. Here are 3 generations of voters. The grandmother who first got her right to vote as a black woman in 1965, and the son and the granddaughter, and they all said, look, they're Democrats. We don't like Raffensperger. We don't like Sterling. We don't agree with their policies. We don't even really agree with the way elections have been run in this state. But we are so glad that they didn't stand up, that they stood up to Donald Trump and his bullying. And they respected them for doing that. They were able as Democrats to say there are 2 Republicans who stood up for the rule of law, and we're so glad that they did.
You know, Mike Barnicle, you strip it all down at the end of the day. You listen to what the Secretary of State of Georgia said. You listen to what Ron Johnson said when he was caught on camera. It reminds me of what a Republican said to me. There wasn't a grand conspiracy to rig this election. There was just a jerk at the top of the Republican ticket, and that's why he had so many undervotes compared to every other Republican on the ballot.
You know, the thing that's striking, Joe, about these hearings is that it involves much more than what happened after the election, much more than what happened on January 6th. This is a crime syndicate that's been operating in full view of the American public for 4.5 years now, and they're still at large, which says a lot about us, that it takes these hearings to awaken and alert some people to the misbehavior, to the criminal behavior of one administration, the Trump administration. And there really is no way yet to measure the damage, the deep, deep damage that Donald Trump and the people around him have done to this country. We've seen exhibits of an important thing, an important characteristic at these hearings, and it's separate from ideology. The Republicans, Rusty Bowers, the former Speaker of the House in Arizona, Brad Raffensperger from Georgia, they're Republicans, and they have an ideology that I think would bring them to vote for Donald Trump for president, maybe to vote for Donald Trump again for president. But there's another aspect of this hearing and these people that I think is critical, and it's the aspect of character. You can't buy character. You can't go to a store and purchase character. You either have it or you don't. Rusty Bowers had character. Now, it's separate from ideology. And Jonathan, you were just saying that he has indicated that he would vote for Trump again. That's political. That's ideology. But we're seeing real character at these hearings. Brad Raffensperger, Rusty Bowers, others. And character, at the end of the day, counts.
So, Charles, there was a lot of emotion on display yesterday from Mr. Bowers, and I thought by far most movingly from Shaye Moss, and we also heard from her mother, Ruby Freeman, in video clips. But to Mike's point, crime syndicate. Okay. Is there idea that a crime was committed? What have you seen so far from these hearings now? We've had a number of them, all on different aspects of what happened in the run up to January 6th and on that day itself. Have they, this hearing, laid out a display for the Attorney General and the Department of Justice to charge Donald Trump and others with crimes?
Well, John, I know you asked me the legal question, and I am going to address it, but I don't want to gloss over the importance of the Moss testimony yesterday. My argument is that that is arguably one of the most compelling witnesses that we have seen thus far take the stage at that hearing and testify. And one of the reasons for that is because we've been having, obviously, a conversation about the politics. We've been having a discussion about the criminal element of what has been going on with respect to the January 6th investigation, the hearings, and everything that's come out. But the human element has been overlooked largely since that first night when we heard from Capitol Police who testified about the terror that they experienced. There was a sense of white nationalism that powered these people on January 6th. And those fingerprints have been all over this conversation, but no one has been able to actually articulate it in the way that Moss did during her testimony when you heard about her experience from a human element. So I don't want to gloss over the importance of that. Now, to your actual question regarding the criminality that we've seen, my answer is yes. I do think that the hearings have exposed and unearthed a great degree of different elements of intent that would be necessary to charge Donald Trump and a number of other people with a number of different crimes. I think the beauty of what the hearings have done is that they have let out so many different avenues that the DOJ and Merrick Garland can potentially pursue around different ways that they can go about a conviction. There's fraud with respect to the grifting that we saw. Of course, there's a level of intent that they have connected Donald Trump to on numerous occasions in numerous ways, up to and including yesterday with talking about the fake electors and his direct connection to that. So my answer is yes. It's just a question of which avenue the DOJ decides to pursue because they've been given everything they need. The question was intent. That was the big thing, tying Donald Trump to intent with respect to these actions. And they've done a brilliant job of bringing that out very clearly for the DOJ and Merrick Garland. So I'd say yes.
You know, John Heilemann, we've talked, unfortunately, for many years about failures of our federal government, failures of our politicians, failures in so many ways of people who should know better than what they do.